What's going on? This is your boy Javo from Bearded Wrestling. You guessed it. You know where you are. You're at our YouTube page. So what we need you to do, first and foremost, is please like, share, comment. Spread this with your friends who love wrestling, who might love wrestling, who used to love wrestling. Let everybody know about us. We're here and we're here to stay. Listen, please follow us on our Instagram and Facebook, which is the same thing, Bearded_Wrestling. On YouTube, it's just Bearded Wrestling. On SoundCloud, it's just Bearded Wrestling. If you want to email us, you can email us at beardedwrestling1@gmail.com. Let's get to the show. I'm wearing my Taker shirt today, as you can see. It's one of my favorite shirts. I got it at Raw 25, but it's Smackdown, and Taker is a Smackdown guy, even though he's been on Raw the last couple of weeks. Let's get right to the show. Starts with The Miz, talking about his win at Hell in a Cell. Him and his wife Maryse. He talks about just what it took for them to win the match and everything that went in with it. It was a so-so match. And, it wasn't nothing to write home about. He then talks about moving heaven and hell to get his guests for Miz TV at that time. And we all know, if you watch the show, that his guests ended up being one half of the it couple of wrestling, his wife Maryse. The two of them do an interview about how she thought it was to beat Brie Bella, how easy it was, and she was like, "Come on, really? It was pretty easy." Then they came and made a big announcement that Maryse won't be on SmackDown Live anymore. I thought maybe she was going to give wrestling another chance again and go to Raw, but no. That's literally what I thought at the moment. But she is going to be going off air so she can be with their beautiful baby Monroe. And the crowd starts chanting yes. And he's like, "Are you guys chanting yes because you want her to be Mother of the Year, blah, blah, blah." And then he calls for Daniel Bryan. It's like, "You know what? Daniel Bryan, you get out here and I'll fight for my wife's honor, blah, blah, blah," So, of course, DB comes out. That's what I call him, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan comes out and he's calling Miz a coward. And he says, "Listen, you can fight me all you want, but when you hit my wife, I'm going to come for you." So, of course, he comes down to the ring. Him and Miz, they start fighting. Maryse gets in the middle of it, and he kind of like pushes Maryse a little bit, and she acts like she's injured. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I hit a woman." Miz is acting like she's really hurt. They get the EMTs down there. The EMTs are working with her. He's like, "Do you want some water?" And then, I kind of saw it before it happened, but I could see like she was like laughing like it wasn't real. I was like, let me see where this is going. But that's exactly where it went. Daniel is standing over or hovering over Maryse. He's like, "I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean it. And she gets up and starts laughing. Of course, the Miz is there to come behind her and come behind Daniel, of course, to try to fight him. Of course, I guess Daniel Bryan knew the Miz was going to try to do this. He foils it. And then actually Daniel actually does push Miz into Maryse, where she actually does get hurt. That's the end of that segment. As always, I will give the rating at the end of the show. So I'll just keep it going. Then they do a promo with Daniel Bryan, and he says, she asks, "How did you foil what the Miz was going to do like so quickly?" This is the announcer. And he goes, "Listen, I knew if the Miz was calling me out there, it was going to be for some foolishness. So I was just ready for a fight and ready for any trickiness because he's a coward. And we all know this. And he's always going to find a way to, get the upper hand." He said, "I just didn't know that he would bring his wife into it to get the upper hand." And he did, because he is the Miz and he's awesome. We then get Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston. The Bar has kind of been like out of the picture for a while. Don't really know what was going on with the Bar, but I'm going to check into that. But anyway, we find out that the Bar is going to be facing the New Day for their tag team Smackdown championships at the Super Showdown in Australia. But tonight it's just Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston. Listen, Kofi comes down and says, at Hell in a Cell, they proved that there was only room for one day. not Rusev Day. Oh no! But of course for the New Day, Big E and Xavier have on the Safari stuff, but of course they're bigging up for Australia, and they start speaking with these horrible Australian accents, and Kofi goes, guys, that's extremely offensive. And Big E's like, no, we asked the Iconics, and they said it was cool. They said, okay, it's cool. So they go into the ring, and they're making, these jokes, these cheesy jokes about Cesaro and them. And Cesaro and them actually came up pretty good. It was like, listen, you guys are with the same jokes that are always boring, and it's horrible. Sheamus says, listen, Cesaro says, hey Sheamus, look at the New Day in their natural habitat, acting like clowns. Then Sheamus says, listen, it would be an honor for us to take these belts off of you guys, because you guys are clowns, and to bring prestige back to the Smackdown Tag Team Championship belts. Listen, I just really like the chemistry that these two teams have together, and it's really great. The show breaks the commercial, which I never really talk about, but I really want to talk about it because on SmackDown, even during the commercial while the fight is going on, we can still watch the fight while watching the commercials. I love that. I think they should do it on Raw too. I guess they're trying to add that to SmackDown. It's neither here nor there, but I would love for them to do that on Raw. Anyway, Sheamus was taking selfies while Cesaro was beating up Kofi. I looked on his Instagram page. I didn't see it. Maybe I have to go back and look again. I looked on WWE's Instagram as well. Of course, I didn't see it on either one of them, but maybe he'll put them up later. Kofi did a new move tonight, and I kind of can't explain it completely to say exactly what it was, but basically what he did was he held on to the ropes, put his chest on it, bounced, and then flipped over and hit Cesaro. It was a pretty dope move. With that, then Kofi did the SOS, but with all of that, it still wasn't enough, and Sheamus won the match. Listen, it was a great match. I don't really have to talk too much about Cesaro or Kofi because both of those guys are amazing, and I wish they had room to give these guys major shots. I feel like Cesaro should be in the heavyweight intercontinental looked at, as far as a contender for these things. We then go to a promo with Rusev and Lana and Aiden. Rusev and Lana are talking about Rusev Day and how to say Rusev Day, and all of a sudden Aiden comes out and says, listen, the match at Hell in a Cell, it was a bad loss, but we can get through it. Rusev says, listen, we just can't do this. And Aiden's like, listen, I gave it my best. He's like, if that was your best, then it's not enough. And he walks away. Aiden starts talking to this random guy, a worker, and he's like, listen, I'm the main success of Rusev Day. I made Rusev Day up. Is he crazy? Like, to go with her and not me? Like, if anything, she's only a okay manager and a way better manager than she is even a wife. Like, he was going off. And the guy goes like this to him, like, and I'm like, he's right behind you. But it was Lana. And he goes, Lana, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any of that. You guys mean so much to me, you and Rusev. She goes, I don't want to hear it. I'm telling Rusev. But what happens is, I don't know. I mean, I like the way it went at the end of it. But what happens is, he apologized. He tries to say it as much as he can, but nothing happens. So we'll move on. We'll get back to them as it goes along. The announcers start to talk, and they cut back to the announcers. And as they get ready to talk, they said, listen, we're going to cut to Randy Orton's in the truck. And they cut to him, and he's holding the shoulder of the truck guy, the tech in the truck guy who's running the videos. And he's like, get to it, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And he wants to get to a scene from Hell in a Cell, from his match. And pretty much basically it's when he had the screwdriver in his ear, and he's like, is that gruesome enough? Is that like he's being like a real evil heel, not this in between pantsy stuff. It's like really good stuff. And the guy's like, "Sir, you're hurting me." He's like, "Oh yes." He grabs his face. He's like, "Is this better?" He's like, "Yeah, it's better." So when he gets to the scene, he goes, "Is that gruesome? Did that make you like squeal?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, if you thought that was bad, wait till you see what I do to my next opponent." And of course, we don't know who that next opponent is, but I enjoyed it. Randy is a great heel, and he's showing these guys what it takes to be a heel. We then go to a promo with AJ Styles, and AJ says, well, they ask him pretty much, what does he feel about the whole thing, about him winning his championship, even though, it looked like he tapped out, even though we couldn't see it. AJ says after all he did, after all Joe has done to his family and talking about them and bringing down their character and, and all the fights, he said he couldn't let him go home with the WWE Championship. And no matter how it happened, he's glad that it happened. It was the best thing. And he says, listen, the ref, his call stands. He's like, maybe the good Lord was just gracing me with some good luck that day. But either way, I'm going to take it. He says, but listen, he's going to fight Joe in Australia for one more time at this DQ match. And there's going to be a winner. Like, we have to end with a winner. This is the rubber band match. And he says, but for now, he needs to worry about Cien Almas, because the last time he fought him, he gave him a good show, a good fight. And he did. He pushed him to his limits, because my man Cien Almas is a great competitor. And Vince is kind of hot on him too, so we should look to see him pushed. They then go back to Nakamura and Rusev. Rusev is standing there getting ready to go out, and Lana says, Rusev, I have to tell you something. He goes, no, I can't right now. And he goes, but I have to tell you. He says, listen, it'll have to wait. And he tells Aiden, says, listen, will you do the honors? So Aiden goes out and introduces him. It was a pretty good one. So all three of them go out to start the match. It's a really good match. I mean, it's Nakamura and Rusev. Like, you're going to get a great match between these guys. But the whole time, Aiden kept his mic, and Lana's looking at him like, I didn't forget, and I'm going to tell him. And he's like, don't worry about it. Like let's just, cheer on Rusev. And like I told you, he had the mic in his hand the whole time. And he starts screaming in the mic, Rusev Day, Rusev Day, Rusev Day. And he's screaming in the mic, and then the match is going back and forth. And they get to the point where Rusev is getting ready to try to put on one of his finishing moves. And you hear Aiden all of a sudden get on the mic and go, Rusev, crush. And it distracted Rusev. And because of it, Nakamura was able to do Kinshasa, and he beat him. And they're all distraught, and he's like, I'm done with you. And all of a sudden, Aiden turns on Rusev, and he turns heel, and it was a great turn. I just hope they don't mess it up in WWE, like they do a lot of things. We then go to, which is not the main event. They kind of didn't have a main event tonight. Maybe, I don't know if you want to say it like that. AJ Styles versus Andre Cien Almas. So they both come out. And of course, Andrade comes out first, and AJ comes down. And before the match could even start, Almas attacks Styles, to try to get an advantage. He beats him up pretty bad. The ref finally gets them separated, and he asks him, can you still go? AJ says yes. They start the match. You got two of the greatest guys here. Andrade might not have a great career so far, or enough for me to say that he's a great wrestler, but he is. If we check his records before coming to WWE, he's had a great record, and he's a great wrestler, and it showed tonight. He did a moonsault off the top ropes and had the wherewithal, like they love to say on the show, to flip, do the moonsault, and then know that AJ was going to move and do another moonsault, flip off. But of course, AJ put his knee up, but whether or not, that joint was dope. Then AJ got tied up in the ropes, and Andrade jumps from the top ropes down outside of the ring and double stomps into AJ's chest. I mean, the guy is really, really talented. But of course, you know, they're not going to let AJ lose. And Styles goes for the same pin that he did at Hell in a Cell. But as he does it, he flips back over and goes into the Style Clash, does it, and wins. It was a really great move. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and see it. Of course, after the match is over, Samoa Joe comes out of nowhere and he starts beating the heck out of AJ. But AJ fights back. But in the midst of him fighting, he goes, listen, you'll never be safe. You'll never be safe. You better always look out for me. But of course, AJ fights back, fights him off, and Joe ends up leaving. But even in his leaving, as he's walking back into the crowd, the whole time he's screaming, you'll never be okay. You'll never be safe. Blah, 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 blah. But it's Joe. And these guys are going to have to finish this out sooner or later. And I don't think we're going to be done in Australia with them. I really don't. But we'll see. We then they cut to Naomi and Asuka. And Naomi is helping Asuka put on her coat. And Naomi has a fur coat, a green one, like glow in the dark, of course. And they are now like the best of buddies when they used to be, like, I guess, like enemies of some sorts, which goes into Naomi walking down and being with Asuka at the ring as she fights one of the Iconics, which is Billie Kay. I can't stand these girls' voices, and as much as I would like to say they're funny, the voices just really like take me somewhere else. I just can't take their voices. But it wasn't that long of a match, of course. Billie Kay didn't even get a chance to show what she could really do, if she could do anything. She wasn't that bad in NXT. But she just... Sorry, guys. She just never had a chance to do anything. And Asuka puts her in the Asuka lock. And, of course, she wins. It's really not a long match. But this leads up to them telling us that Naomi and Asuka will be teaming up to fight the Iconics in Australia, in their home country. They had to find a way for them to be on the card. You know, they're the home girls, and maybe the biggest thing out of Australia for them right now, as far as WWE is considered. So they were gonna find a way to get it there. So like I said, there was no main event for the night. So the main event was really the coronation of Becky Lynch, I guess, if that's what you want to say. But it was really good. Paige comes out and introduces Becky Lynch as the new champ. She has her belt there with the new plates on it. And she goes, listen, this was really great. You didn't have to make, the whole ring blue and everything, with the brand that I made myself, because I'm the backbone of Smackdown as far as the women are considered. He said, the only thing I need you to have is Charlotte down here. So he says, Charlotte Flair, I need you to come on down. He goes, oh, what? You don't want to steal my shine anymore? This is not what you want to do? No. So, of course, Charlotte comes down. Woo! That's what she does. Charlotte comes out and tries to congratulate her. He goes, listen, I tried to do it the other night, but you wouldn't let me do it, so I'm going to do it again. And I wanted to be a woman and come to you and say, you beat me fair and square in the middle of the ring, and I'm saying congratulations. But of course, Lynch wasn't hearing that. She's sticking to the heel thing. She says, listen, I don't need any of that, and I didn't want you to do that, raise my hand that night, because you just wanted to steal my shine and not let me, as always, have my moment. So I wasn't going to let you do it, but you can do it now. So she says, come on, raise my hand. Raise my hand. She says, again, I say congratulations to Charlotte, but I'm not raising your hand. She says, that's okay. I never wanted you to raise my hand, but I do want you to put this belt around my waist. Charlotte goes, yeah, that's not happening either. She said, come on, that's not nice. So as Charlotte begins to walk away, she calls a B. Listen, this is a PG show about a PG show, so we ain't gonna... Oh no, she also says, okay, you don't want to raise my hand, you don't want to put the belt around my waist, you can call me the queen, and I'll be okay. Of course, Charlotte really laughs, says, I'm not doing that. So she turns her back on Becky, and Becky calls her the B word, like I said. and they go into a full fight. You know, they're at it, going hard. But of course, she's the champ and she's a heel, so they're gonna let her win. So Becky starts like really wailing on Charlotte, like giving it to her. She throws her on the announce table. She's throwing her all over. She brings her back in the room and does the disarm her. Then she came back, threw her over, gave her other move. Like, she did a couple of different things, you know, just really trying to make an example out of Charlotte. And after it was all over, she raised her belt, you know, like, this is it. This is my time. This is my belt, and I'm gonna keep it. Lynch had, I'm not gonna go into the whole promo because that's the end of the show right there. But Becky had some really good things to say. I guess I should say it. Becky goes, you know, you said, like you're trying to just clean this over and say thank you, but you know, you said that you were the better woman, but this belt shows different. I should have worn my belt. She goes, you said you were gonna win Hell in a Cell and leave as the champ, but this belt says different. She says, you said that you're the best woman competitor on Smackdown or Raw and anything, but this belt says different. I mean, Becky did her thing tonight, and her cursing and all that just made it even more of who she was. She's like, you know, she's talking to Paige. She's like, listen, no more me being left out of the magazines and the morning shows. She says, I want it all. It's my time. And Becky, it is your time. And I hope that they don't screw you and give the belt right back to Charlotte, because she is a Flair. And that's what they do. So I hope they don't do it to you, and I hope they give you your time and give you a full reign. That would be great for you. Well, listen, that is the end of the show. Let's do what we do at the end of every review, and let's go through. I've already marked them down, so I'm just gonna rattle them off by their grade. I did it already because I graded it as I was watching the show. So here we go. The Miz's promo in the beginning, I gave it a 2.5. Daniel Bryan's 2.5. Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston, I think. I don't see one here, but I'm gonna give it a 3. Now my pen doesn't want to go. I gave it a 3. The promo with Rusev, Lana, and Aiden, 2.5. The Randy Orton thing, I gave it a 3.5 because Randy is a hell of a heel, and I'm liking what he's doing. AJ's promo, 2.5. Nakamura versus Rusev, 3 because it was a good match plus the heel turn. AJ Styles versus Andrade, 3.5. It was a good match. I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, Andrade is a great competitor, and he's AJ freaking Styles. It's the house that AJ Styles built. Naomi and Asuka, the little putting on the coat thing, 2.5. They lucky I didn't give it a 1. Naomi versus Asuka. Naomi, Asuka versus Billie Kay. I gave it a 2.5. I should give myself a 1 for not remembering it. Becky Lynch coronation segment. I'm gonna give that a 3. I enjoyed it. Almost would have gave it a 3.5, but I'm a Raw guy. So that's a 3.5, 2.5, 2.5. 3.5, 3, 2.5. 3.5, 2.5. 2.5, 2.5, 3. Giving it a 3. So both shows got 3s this week. And I think we're all well right. Both shows have been pretty good tonight, except for this. You know, this is 2 weeks back to back that SmackDown didn't have a main event or something that was main event worthy. They go different ways on each show, and I get it. But give me something at the end. Give us a reason why we want to, view. And I was looking at something earlier showing how the ratings for Raw last night were down. They were 2.8 million the week before, and it ended at 2.7 this week. The beginning of the show was like 2.9 million. But because they found out that Corbin was fighting Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship, nobody wanted to see it. So, you got to give us something that we want to see. So, yeah. Make sure it's something that we want to see, guys. All right? So, that was the rating for the show was a 3 by the Bearded Rating System. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really love doing this show, and I will keep doing it until I can't, or I can do it at a higher budget. Gonna be getting my green screen back so I can put the images up on the wall, behind me. I got my mic system. We're gonna get back to things being at the level where they first started. Things don't always happen the way you want it, but that doesn't mean that you can't still do what you love. And I love talking about wrestling, so that's what I'm gonna do. Listen, as always, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram at bearded_wrestling. On YouTube and SoundCloud, just as straight Bearded Wrestling, or you can always email us at beardedwrestling1@gmail. Listen, I love this, and I know you guys love wrestling, so let's do it together. Peace and have a good night.